Hey, it's me again, Mr. Hara. Welcome back to my channel. And now I finished the last book. It took me longer than usual because I had to watch my siblings for a few days. I mean, these books do not take long at all, but I wasn't feeling well, and then I had to watch my siblings for a few days while my parents were out of town, and started to read with them. And then I knew I had to do this video, which would be really hard to do with them around. But this book does not take me, it honestly doesn't take me to read a lot of books that long unless I'm like really busy, not feeling well, or have other stuff I have to get done. Especially this book because this is the last book of Rochelle, Venus, Rebecca, and then there's Winona. So I showed you what she looked like in the last video because I didn't show her on the cover of that one, obviously. I mean, I think honestly they should probably write Donna on the back of the book. Like a lot of times they put a character on the back of the book. They probably honestly should have done that because she wasn't actually in this book that long. She was actually, I mean, in the third book she wasn't actually in that long either. I mean, they knew about her and had news of her, but they knew about her for the entire book, but you know, she didn't really come up to closer to the end. And then this one, she's in the beginning and end. That's it. Like seriously, at the very beginning, it starts at the same place that their book ends, with the I can't think of what it's called now, but the little thing they were doing, the tournaments, I guess they were doing. And the first chapter was a lot like the last chapter, and it was just them trying to convince Winona to tell them. But then time ran out, and then Superintendent Pentras told everyone there was an emergency, so me in the Vampire Theater. Yeah, right? This is when Mr. Blanco was already kidnapped. Yeah, because there was an emergency, so they wanted to get a head count, and then Winona gets swept off before she can tell them what she was about to tell them. And then by the time the ghouls inside reached the Vampire Theater, she was missing. So yeah, she was missing the majority of the book until they found her at the end. But they still don't know everything about ASAM, and everyone is like, oh my gosh, ASAM's our heroes, this and that. So the three ghouls inside still had a lot to figure out. You know, I mean, they don't know what ASAM stands for, and they don't know who's part of ASAM and what those parents have to do with it. The names on that list they found at, what was it called? The oh come on. Prayer Day, I think it was. Dracula was there, and so they decided to get some answers out of him since his name was on the list. And he was like, you ghouls should stay out of this and stuff. And so Venus decided to take the chance to warn him and say, whatever this is, we don't believe in ASAM, but they will call ASAM unless you do something about it, or something like that. Those were her exact words, but yeah. So the ghouls inside, but they found a key that's important for later on. See, there's the key. They were all digging in Callie class, and Rebecca was like, "What if this is the key that could free my dad or whatever?" And Rochelle was like, "That's highly improbable." And Sai's like, "Just keep it with you anyways for a sign of faith." And yeah, and you don't really think much of it at the time, but that becomes important for the end of the book. They even tried talking to Superintendent Petra and scare Fred, but of course, like in any book or series or movie like this, the adults never want to listen to the children because they're just children. They don't know what they're talking about. But a lot of times in things like this, the children are smarter than the adults, and they're the ones that get things done because they have their own way of doing it. And yeah, like Pretty Little Liars, the liars were what's the word? More smart than the adults, and they're the ones that kept saving the day when the adults wouldn't listen to them because they're just children. So what? Adults are stupid. But later on you find out Dracula did heed this warning very carefully because the 4 monsters decided to. Oh wait, they even went to Musinami to tell them that ASAM is bad, but they're like, you don't have any proof. And right now, if it quiets down everyone's hysteria about the normies, then I'm okay with it. Yeah, she'll see. That's one thing that is I do like about Miss Tsunami is that she does listen to them, and it's because of the flapper incident. You know, she trusted them, but she still needed more. But her hands were tied, so she couldn't do anything about it. Because without evidence that they were right, she couldn't do anything about it. She couldn't do it over suspicions or rumors. You know, so you know, and so yeah, but I was gonna say something before that. What was I gonna say? Okay, so for this assembly they were having to calm down everyone and stuff, the 4 monsters decide to storm up in the where the microphone is, the little stand or whatever, and tell everyone the truth about ASAM. And so they were about to do that and say that we can't hold our tongue, that ASAM is not bad. Before they had a chance to say much, that's when Dracula stands up and says that he agrees with them. Well, that's not how he says it, but that's basically what he's saying. He agrees with them that and ASAM is bad. And then all the other people from that list, except for him, Mr. Bloodgood, Hexkai's team, of course, all stand up as well. And they all walked, and Miss Flapper gets irritated. She's like, you can't just let them stand up and speak or whatever she says. And for momentarily she lost her grace and usual soft manner because these group of monsters could actually stop her. You know, they could actually get everyone to not go for ASAM. So, but Scared Fred's like, these are important monsters in our community or something, or respected monsters in our community, something like that. So he was willing to hear what they had to say, and they told him the truth about ASAM. If I can find the chapter, I can find what he said it was called, like, because ASAM's like an acronym, you know, it stands for something. If I can find the chapter, you know, then, or it's further than that. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, I think I'm close. Okay, so what does he say? Let's see. Okay. Where is it? Dracula said he was once part of ASAM. Him and Mrs. Denial. But then they realized that they were wrong and they went back to this new organization. What is it called? Come on, I see it somewhere. I know they said what it stands for, if I can find it. Here it is. ASAM stands for the Ancient Society of Monster Elite. There it was. I knew I would find it eventually. And then after his speech, he said, "We are the Society of United Monsters." And then some of the children of those monsters, like Deuce and Frankie, were all like, "Wow, it's like I didn't even know my parent. I mean, they're a part of the secret society." And then, so Miss Flower decided to act now after they said what they had to say. And I think Dracula's kind of the lead of this thing. I mean, he's always one that's speaking up on behalf of all of them. But anyways, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. And I completely forgot. Okay, oh yeah, Miss Flapper stands up and is like, okay, she said, "I am as shocked as all of you about this news." I can't stand her. And she's like, "We still, no matter what it says, it's still going under their ruling, still better than being caved in by these, by the normies in a wall." So everyone started erupting in chatter, deciding which one was better, because ASAM believes in a hierarchy of monsters where some monsters are better, mainly vampires, mummies, and aristocratic ghosts. And people start talking. Dracula agreed with Dracula, even though she is a vampire, so she would be part of that hierarchy. And then she was talking to a mummy who's like, "It's still been better than caged in was normies." And then Laguna walks up. She's like, "Of course you think that, you're a mummy." So some were like, "Okay, no, I believe I rather be with these hierarchy monsters. No, I'd rather be with the normies, you know." And then Miss Flapper gets all upset, and not from that, but from something else. So she says, and the ghouls decide to question her, and they find out that Cleo and Torlai were abducted by normies, and apparently Cleo's older sister, or not older sister, aunt, decided to caught them, Nephra, which I find weird because in the movies Nephra is Cleo's older sister. That's why I almost said older sister. She wasn't her aunt, but on here she's Ramses' sister. But apparently, but they all knew that Nephra sided more to the ASAM, so they figured she was just in on it, because that would make sense. It was more complicated than that, though. And you find out who's really behind this. I mean, we all know Miss Flapper, but we all know there's something more than that, too. You know, so they decided to question Ramses, too, because his name wasn't on the list. Because they found out the list that they found was for the Society of United Monsters, and they didn't trust Ramses. There was something off about him, and they knew it. Just little things he's done shows that maybe he's not in support. He may not be as against ASAM as he says he is. But yeah, and while they were doing their speech, I forgot to mention is that they also made a comment about Hexkai's team and Hamish Bloodgood. Hexkai's team was part of their nation, and Hamish Bloodgood helped with Monster High, you know. So and Rebecca's like, he was even more amazing person than I thought he was, you know. And they told him that last time he was seen was actually he was supposed to meet up with Ramses, but never did. And then Ramses was like, at first I was insulted because you don't stand up royalty, blah blah blah. But then he's like, then I realized something was terribly wrong, and yeah, so he just went missing. Yeah, so they were trying to figure out how, and then the four of them came up with a plan to get the mayor, the normie mayor, on recording saying that he doesn't plan on walling in monsters. That was the only way at this point to make everyone realize that ASAM is the real monsters here and not the normies. Poor choice of words there. The real monsters. Poor choice of words. Okay, moving on. But so that's what they did. They were trying to find a plan, and then Rebecca said a couple of goofy answers just to lighten the mood. But then Rochelle started thinking about her first answer, digging a tunnel, and she started thinking about it. And Rebecca was like, "Isn't that could be very unsafe? And you as a gargoyle shouldn't want to do that or something like that." And she was like, "Of course, I'm not thinking about digging a tunnel. That would take too long, and it's very unsafe. But maybe there's already a tunnel that was created, and they just had to find." So they decided to question Mr. Mummy, Monsieur Mummy. That's what Rochelle calls him, because she's French. But she doesn't go out very well because she decided to tell him the whole truth because she didn't want to lie to him, and he thought her ideas that ASAM was behind this and not the normies were preposterous. But Venus had to swoop in and say, "Oh yeah, she's just kind of going out of it. You know, all of this is just going to her head. She's become very paranoid. So could you please help me protect her and tell me where the tunnels are so that if she does go wandering off, I'll know where to find her." And Monsieur Mommy, after thinking about it for a moment, told him where it was. But he should have thought about that because Rochelle didn't know where it was. So he should have said, "But she doesn't know where it is. So how is she there? How will you know to find her if I told you this location?" But yeah, he didn't think about that. But he obviously didn't want to tell them at first. But anyways, and then they started class, and then past midnight, when everyone else was asleep, they snuck down to the catacombs, the four of them, and found the tunnel. But it was barricaded, and it took them almost an hour, I think, to get it all done. Maybe a little bit more than an hour, something like that, around an hour. And they finally did, and they all walked by for what they felt like forever. Well, it was not even an hour, so I think he said it was like 47 minutes or something. Until they found a little manhole, I guess that's what Sai called it. Those little sewer things that's in the street, and they knew that 4 monsters walking together would be a little suspicious. So they agreed only one monster. They're trying to decide who best is be. And Saya offered because he was like, you guys are a trio, and you guys couldn't handle being without one another. And I find that reactions to that hilarious because one of them, Rochelle, that was the one, was like a little codependent if you ask me. And yeah, that was funny. But then he was gone for like over 2 hours, and they were getting really worried, like, is he in jail? What happened to him? Finally he came back, and they were walking back as he told them what happened. He said reason what took him so long, he said it took him a long time to even find the mayor's office. I mean, he had a hoodie covering half of his face, so no one could notice that he was out of sorts or whatever. And he couldn't ask anyone for directions, or they noticed something was wrong. So he had to look around for a good hour just to find the mayor's office. And then he had to find a way to sneak in because he didn't think he could get past. And he managed to sneak into the mayor's office. He like jumped from he climbed a tree, jumped on the roof, and then lowered himself onto the balcony of the mayor's office. And then he said, turns out that it went pleasantly well because turns out his parents had sent him to a normie monster summer camp thing. So he was more used to monsters than the average normie, something like that. Which was good. This was very good for their plans. That means they wouldn't have to worry about him screaming or getting scared of the monster or whatnot, and it made him very cooperative with them to help them with their goals. So So, and then he told him he got the video of the mayor saying that they are not planning on building a wall. And so the next day, they went. Frankie asked him if they were going to the Claws and Gauze Summit, and they were like, "What's that?" And you were like, "It's something to what was it like? It's memorial's not the right word because Cleo and Torlight are dead. It's like a celebration of them until they can get back to them, you know, because they're kidnapped, missing." And then Rebecca's like, shouldn't it be, I might be going a little too into detail, but oh well, because I just thought this was so sweet. She was like, then shouldn't it be the Webbed Head Claws and Gauze Summit? Because Winona and him and Charlotte are missing too. So I was like, you really do have the biggest heart, don't you? I ship them, I do. That's why in my fanfiction they're together, even though Sai was never in any of the movies. I love the relationship on here, and I could so see them getting together because Sai's feelings for her are clear, and Rebecca has feelings for him too, even if I just don't think she's realized it yet. But anyways, so they go there where the entire room is filled with pictures of the two of them, and Torlai and Tabdi. Oh yeah, I forgot. After they were kidnapped, Torlai or Ramses decided to make a use the opportunity to change his vote and say that he was now for ASAM because he wanted his daughter back. But for this, Ramses and Tabby is Torlai's guardian, did their speeches. Then Miss Flapper said something, and she was like, I'm gonna put on a video of memories of the two of them. So she put it on, but it wasn't. Instead, it was the Norman Mayor, because the ghouls inside rigged it up to do that instead. And then they're like, here we go. They got all excited for everyone to finally find out the truth. So, that's what they did. And the Norman Mayor's like, we are not planning on walling you guys in. And our last meeting, we were actually thinking about inviting you guys to the fall festival to get to know you guys better. This and that. Nice to have a monster-friendly normie as mayor, I guess. And then everyone was like, oh my gosh, they were never planning on doing anything. We were overreacting for nothing. And then I cannot speak. Superintendent, well, how's it pronounced? Superintendent Petra is like, turned to Rance. She was like, you told me you saw the plans to build the wall. And then now everyone knows that he was the parent that saw all that. And so the ghouls inside decided to interrogate him a little bit, and they were like, but you were on the list, or no, because he wasn't on the list. He wasn't on the list. Well, yes, he was. Wasn't he? Now I'm confused because they said he wasn't on the list. But earlier on, when they first found the list, I thought he was on the list because that's why they wanted to try and get invited to Cleo's house to talk to him. I don't know. I might be wrong. I don't know. A lot of things, they forget things. They always change things. Okay, anyways. What was I gonna say? But anyways, so yeah, and Ramses made a comment about how Rebecca's father wasn't a fan, didn't like that because apparently he thought that there was a hierarchy in monsters. He didn't actually agree with the Dracula and that organization. He agreed with ASAM, and so he's like, he's like, Hezekiah did not like that I agreed with ASAM or whatever. And Rebecca stood up. She was like, my father knew, and then that's when it clicked. Because Hezekiah did meet up with Ramses, but he was never seen again after that. And that's when. Give me a minute. I'm making a video. Hold on. That's when Rebecca is like, what did he do to my father? As steam poured out of her I mean, that happens a lot, but this was worse than anything they've ever seen. And then the three of them, Ramses, Tabby, and Miss Flapper, were all arguing with each other, blaming one another for why their plans had failed. And so they started, and they pretty much told them everything. They told them where the monsters were hiding as they yelled and stuff. And then before they got a chance to rest, they ran out and they ran away back to the old world. But there are Scared Fred, scientists, two best men to go find them and arrest them, bring them back, whatever. So Miss Tsunami, Jennifer and Cleo were really upset to find out the truth about Miss Flapper. But Miss Tsunami and then the ghouls and Sai decided to all go to the old maze, which is underneath the new maze. So it took a while to get to it. They had to drill a hole in the new maze to get to the old maze. And then they looked around for a while, couldn't find them until they found a locked door. And it was really locked. And they all had their ideas, which all failed, until Rochelle's the one that was like, no, it was Sai. He was like, it's kind of a long shot, but Rebecca, do you still have that key we found? Like, here, I said this is where the key's important. And she was like, yeah, I kept it close. I'm making a video! I kept it close to me for Faith, like you said. And so they decided to try it, and it worked. It turns out Cleo and Torlight bonded with Headmistress Bloodgood and Wydonna. And and Rebecca was really nervous, hoping her father was there, but he wasn't. And so they rescued the four of them, and Cleo and Torlight were distraught, knowing what Ramses and Tabby had done, especially Cleo, who really mentioned that one in the epilogue. But yeah, and the ghouls. Oh yeah, what I forgot to mention is when Sai came back from the mayor thing, they said we are no longer a tree, we are in a quartet, which I thought was really nice, which I didn't mention. But they promised Rebecca that if her father was out there, they would find him. But then in the epilogue, Cleo was looking at some of her father's old stuff and found something which showed the location, or I think it said location. What did it say? Hold on. Epilogue, where are you? Let's see. She found a mechanical box with a hexagon panels and tree. Okay, let's see. She popped it open, revealing a picture of a normie, attached to which was a thin blue envelope. Tucked neatly inside the blue paper was a map, only instead of leading to a pop ghoul or a specific location, it led to a man, Hexkai's. So she wanted to right her father's wrong, so she gave it to the three ghouls. But that's where it ended. And they haven't made a fourth book, and I've had this for years and years and years. And they still haven't made a fifth book. And that makes me mad, because they obviously were going to. I mean, that left off at a cliffhanger about them finding Hexkai, and Miss Flapper, Ramses, Denial, and Tabby are still on the lam, so for all we know, they could want to come back and get revenge on the four monsters, the three ghouls inside. You know, I mean, I can see that happening. But yeah, that just made me so. I still wanted to make a fifth book. I want to know what happens. I mean, that's the end of this story, but they saw the story of Hexkai's theme, three monsters on the loose, you know, I mean, ASAM, and for all we know, ASAM's not done. They could still try and come and destroy these monsters for stopping them, especially these three on here, not Wydonna, these three, and Sai, because they're the four that have stopped them in the past. They stopped Miss Flapper's whisper spell, and they stopped Ramses, Tabby, and Miss Flapper, and all of ASAM. And it was the four of them, with a little help from Miss Tsunami here and there. But yeah, so I still think there's a lot more that could be told. At least one more book, if not two more, could be told. And I really hope they get made, because I want to read them. Anyways, please like and subscribe and comment your thoughts on the series, if you want them to make a new book, how you felt about it, and if you thought it was a good series, because I certainly do, and I recommend it, so please read it. Okay. Until next time.